Frank DiMora here. Today is June the 6th, 2013. There's a lot of news. Obviously, I won't make a video for all of it, but I want to share some things with you today. The first has to do, obviously, with the drought situation. Let me go over to my information so that you can see what I'm talking about. And if you just found my website, go to my website that you'll see right here, the End Times Research Ministry. You'll be able to get my book today for free. Download it. There'll be a link right here for you when you get to my site. And I want to, first of all, give you the word of the Lord. In Luke 21:25, Jesus points out signs in the sun. Let me show you. It says, "And there shall be signs in the sun," that's why I highlighted it, "and in the moon, and in the stars, and upon the earth distress of nations with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring." Now, obviously, if you've been watching the news today, again, there's more problems with the hurricanes that are coming on board now to the United States. But we're going to concentrate on the sun and, of course, the drought, the obvious after effects of the sun. And though also in Revelation chapter 7 verse 16 and Revelation 16:8, it talks about the hunger, the thirst, and this intense heat that will be coming down on the earth during the last days. So it says this: "Never again will they hunger, never again will they thirst. The sun will not beat upon them, nor any scorching heat." It goes on to say in verse 8 of Revelation 16, "The fourth angel poured out his bowl on the sun, and the sun was given power to scorch people with fire." So there's going to be problems with the water. There's going to be problems with drought, famine, obviously food. And we see the food crisis coming because in Revelation chapter 6, verse 6, Jesus shows us this, and he says this: "And I heard the voice in the middle of the four beasts say, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny." To make it very, very short for the purpose of this video, just understand when you do a study about this verse, you'll find out that what it's telling us, what it's showing us, is the same thing Jesus showed us in the New Testament, that people are going to have to work all day long for one very, very small meal. He tells you what it is. Wheat, barley there. So it's about a quart of wheat for one person. That's one meal for one person, not a family. And it is going to be harsh, very harsh conditions during the tribulation period. Now, I've been showing you countless articles that the price of food is going to skyrocket. It has been. I've been showing you article after article, report, videos showing the famine, the droughts, and the problems with the water. And so I'm going to show you some of the recent articles that came out. I'm going to go through this pretty fast because I know your time is limited and some people don't like watching these long videos. So I'm going to do my best to shorten the videos for you and be very, very specific and focus in on these prophecies. So let's go over to the first one, and you'll see the article by the Natural News, "Drought Refugees to Become Reality in the U.S. as the Western Half of the Nation Dries Up." This was a couple days ago, June 4th. It says, "The Natural News, the U.S. intelligence community and scores of scientists at home and abroad have warned that the world's supply of clean, portable water is fast disappearing due to mostly to the climate change, overuse, and population. And while such water shortages are set to affect mostly poor third world countries the hardest, the U.S. itself is certainly not immune to shortages of water, the liquid that sustains every one of the 9 billion lives on planet Earth. Nowhere is this more evident than in the Western United States, according to the Post at the Economic Collapse blog site. Scientists called the 20th century the wettest on record for the past 1,000 years, but now things appear to be reverting to their normal historical patterns. Look at this, a new dust bowl. Now we've been We have built teeming cities in the desert such as Phoenix and Las Vegas that support millions of people. Cities all over the Southwest continue to grow even as the Colorado River and Lake Mead and High Plains aquifer system run dry. So what are we going to do when there isn't enough water to irrigate our crops or run through our water systems? Now, when you read the rest of this article, it'll give you a lot more information. But what I wanted to do is just highlight this because it's talking about these damning drought evidence, okay? It says, scientists now say they expect that the western U.S. to become even drier in the coming years. And, of course, this is what I've been warning everybody about for years. Every year it gets worse, so my warnings are all coming to pass. But let me tell you this. They're not my warnings. All I'm doing is taking what Jesus told us in His Word. So actually, all I'm telling you is the same thing that Jesus already warned us. So I'm giving you Christ's warnings. And that's why it's coming to pass. Not because Frank DiMora said it. It's because the Lord told us. I'm just telling you what the Lord said. You can believe it or you can reject it. But if you reject it, you wouldn't be very wise in doing that. Sustained dry conditions will put additional stress on entire regional water sources. Eventually, these sources will begin to run low on water. Then that happens, make no mistake, major western urban regions will not withstand that. And of course, they'll give you some other information down here. But I just wanted to give you the heart of these articles. The Dust Bowl, they're talking about coming back. Droughts, of course. What happens with drought? You have very little water. That's exactly what the Lord told us to look for. So let's go on to the next one. East Africa, La Nina, induced drought to affect millions. All right, they're digging into the hard dirt just to find the water there. But this came out as part of an article that was run back in 2011. And Africa's still having major problems. Since November, East Africa countries have registered serious drought conditions that are likely to worsen in the coming months, according to the data recently released by the World Meteorological Organization. It says the La Nina weather effect is largely responsible, and it is, and it has been. Take a look at what we're seeing here. You could take a look at the sidebar articles, because in 2013, Kenya, Africa, and these nations are again facing these harsh conditions. Let's move on. June 6, 2013. Look at this. It says the drought to blame for 10,000 dead trees in Wichita. I'm going to play this video for you. Let it speak for itself.
More than 10,000 trees in Wichita are dead and many more are dying, and the drought is to blame.
That number, only the trees in city parks and city-owned right-of-ways. Cakes Fair Solomon live in northwest Wichita to explain why crews are working overtime to get rid of the dead trees.
Susan, all trees are dying, trees of all sizes. The smaller ones like this one are basically just eyesores, but the big older ones, those can actually be dangerous. When those die, their large limbs can fall onto busy streets, onto homes, and on cars.
Take a look around Nancy Bogman's front yard, and you'll see the only thing greener than her thumb are her trees.
I believe that's a birch and a pear and the weeping willow over there.
Well, most of them.
I love trees, and I was so disappointed when these died. I thought, oh no, what'd I do?
Turns out she didn't do anything wrong. The drought we've had the last 2 years is to blame, and these trees, which were planted by the city on the right-of-way in front of her house, are just a few of more than 10,000 dead trees on city-owned land in Wichita.
The reality is most of our mature trees have very deep roots, and the moisture content in the soils for those deep roots isn't there enough to sustain life. So we're having a mortality rate that most people in Wichita have never seen.
The city's Parks and Rec director says they have a very long list of dead trees that need to be removed. Crews are working as fast as they can, but he says homeowners need to be patient with them.
They're the best. They take care of business. But when you have 10,000 trees or more, the workload is there. We're taxed.
Nancy Bogman says she's willing to wait for the city to come tear out these eyesores from her yard. but she won't be getting any replacements anytime soon, at least not until the drought is over.
We're not going to plant new trees. That'd be just stupid. It'd be a waste of taxpayers' dollars.
Right now, city crews are removing those...
Well, I'm going to stop it there so we can go on, but you're getting the idea of what's going on here. Here we go into Egypt. All right, again, this is June 6th. Egypt's gathering economic gloom leaves millions facing food shortages. And again, how many times am I going to have to warn people about these things before they'll actually believe it? It says the queues get longer every day. The rising cost of food in Egypt is sending more people to the thousands of government-subsidized bakeries across the country, offering a lifeline to the population struggling to cope. As they wait for bread, customers in Cairo's the Sayyidi Zainab neighborhood say they are feeling the pinch acutely. Rice and beans suddenly seem so expensive, says one mother of four. And the price of tomatoes is rising so fast, you think there was none in the country. As she joins the queue, another customer says she is having to avoid meat entirely now. I have 3 children and I know they're lacking in protein. And when I look at them, I see they're not growing properly, she says. And of course, when you do the rest of the article, you'll see the stats about this problem. And keep in mind, this kind of problem generated in Egypt the uprising that took place going on to 2 years. And so there's a host of prophecies being fulfilled, not just famines and drought, because we're seeing conflicts and civil unrest propagate because of these problems as well. Moving on. World Environment Day 2013. A third of the global food produce doesn't reach people. And this is a large concern of wasted food that could be eaten and is not because it's just wasted. And this whole article explains all about this. But I wanted to show you down here, it'll give you all the stats, the current stats about the food that is being wasted. For example, 33% of all the food produce globally doesn't reach human mouths. It's either lost in transit or wasted by consumers. Developed nations like the U.S., European countries throw away 222 million tons of edible food every year, which is almost equal to what the sub-Saharan African consumes. So there's a lot of waste as well. But you add this kind of waste with the drought, with the famines and a lack of water, and you get mega problems. All right, another article taken yesterday, June 5th, 2013. Socialist Venezuela moves to food rationing. They got such a problem over there that they're going to do food rationing. It'll explain it a little bit to you in this article. I'm not going to take the time to do it because I know that there's a lot of people who don't like long videos, and I'm trying to accommodate you. But, so please, at your own leisure, these are the things that Jesus warned. And if you see it in the news, you should take time to read about your life. Whether you live in Venezuela or not, whether you're in the United States, Canada, whether you're in Russia, whether you're in Africa, it's going to affect you. It's going to be worldwide. This is what Jesus told us. It's going to be worldwide. So what happens in Venezuela affects not only the people in Venezuela, but it's going to affect a majority of the people. It's going to spread. The conditions are going to spread. If you think rationing is only limited to Venezuela, maybe it is right now, but in the future it won't be. We know this from Revelation 6:6. We can tell from that scripture. All right, here's one more. This has to do with the bees, and there's been a massive problem with the bees. This article came out yesterday. that says HFCS, food for bees found to increase colony collapse disorder. And so what they're saying is they discovered that there's some pesticides that are killing off the bees. Now, if you kill off the bees and they can't pollinate, guess what? You don't have crops. And the more bees that are killed off, the less crops that you have. What happens when you have less crops? Obviously, the prices go up. So you can see the road heading to Revelation 6:6, along with the droughts, the famines. Keep your eyes on this summer as you see the heat and all the rest of the prophecies the Lord told us to look for all at the same time. We know that these things are taking place. So get ready for the food crisis. The Lord showed us that there was going to be weight imbalances that were going to be in effect during the tribulation. These are the beginning of the birth pangs. And I'm praying that you would believe it, give your life over to the Lord Jesus Christ. He's trying to save as many as will listen to His word. In the past, when He was here, many rejected, and many now are in hell for eternity. And I pray that that wouldn't be your case. God bless.